Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a 22-year-old competitive boulderer from Canada, currently living near Frankfurt, Germany. Welcome back to the COMPCLIMB training series, where I record all of my training, provide in-depth analysis of every session, and just chat about climbing with an emphasis on competition. If you enjoy the series, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a ton. So in today's episode, we're back from Munich. We spent a couple days in Munich training at Element Boulders. And now we are back to our hometown near Frankfurt and back to training at Studio Bloc. So on the agenda for today, we have 2 hour-long boulder sessions, our standard day 1 for this training cycle. And we're now getting into territory where recently I've been completing a lot of boulders in our 3 home gyms, the 2 Studio Bloc locations and then the Boulderwelt. And so now we're getting into territory that I haven't been in a long time here, which is that I don't have a lot of boulders actually. And so you see by the title of this video, I ended up having to go, I had to do my first session here at Studio Bloc, and then I had to make the journey over to Boulderwelt, Frankfurt for the second session. And so we started with just a 6 to warm up, and you can see here this picture-in-picture. After that 6, I went and I repeated this black campus boulder that we had done like a couple weeks ago. And something I'm gonna start doing is, if there's like a kind of a fancy boulder up in the gym that I've already sent and I know that I can do it quick, I'll probably repeat it in portrait mode so I can use it for social media, just to kind of promote the YouTube channel and promote this series. I'm gonna play the social media game, and so I'll sprinkle in a couple of repeats of some fancy boulders for the Instagram. And so yeah, I did this one again today. I think it took like 3 tries. I felt the finish actually, which I hadn't done the first time I did it. I was greasing off the finish and I was really tired, so that was interesting. But yeah, after that boulder, we moved on to this boulder. I didn't think that I was going to revisit this one. I just I still don't understand the movement, and I like this move. It's a really cool move, but my body is just starting to get sick of this move and it's starting to reject it. There reaches a point when you're trying a boulder that when you've put in a lot of effort on it and then you just start to not feel like you're getting closer, your body will just get sick of the move and it will not try as hard, and it can not even be your decision sometimes. Your body just is so tired of it and stops wanting to try hard, which is kind of what's happening on this boulder. I want to stick this first move, yeah, but I can't deal with it anymore. Today I was trying a little bit some subtly different beta actually, where I was trying to make it less complicated by not dropping my foot down to step on the donut as I do this. I was trying to just use the heel hook and pull me to the side, and then that way there's less moves to think about, but it still wasn't working for me. It felt pretty close, and maybe if I just spent the whole session working this move, I could maybe do it, but that's just is no fun, especially when I've got my fair share of this boulder. I think I've spent 5 or 6 sessions on it at this point. So finally, we're calling it on that boulder. No thank you. I forfeit. And so we're about halfway through our session at this point, probably 30 minutes in. And then this is a new 7. So this replaced that white crimpy slab that was here before. So basically we have 2 7s up in the gym right now. The yellow one, which I'm just not gonna be able to do, I quit on that boulder. And then this one, which is new obviously, and we're trying for the first time here. They were setting in the gym while I was climbing during the session. And so they're obviously going to be putting up a new 7. They always put 1 new 7 up per section. So there'll be something obviously for me to try there. But at this point, this is the last 7 in the gym for me because I'm done with the yellow boulder. And so I was figuring it out. And you see that I'm having trouble starting this boulder. It's a very, very difficult start. And I was excited to work on this because this is kind of a theme on the World Cup, is they'll give you these super terrible, bouncy, uncomfortable starting positions often. And what that does is it's a very easy tool the setters use to eat through your attempts and just rack up your attempts by trying to start a boulder that's really bouncy and precarious. And so I wanted to kind of test myself on this style of climbing. It's something that I usually find that I get got by on the World Cups. I'm always one to take a few tries to need to start a boulder like this, a super bouncy start like this. And I always get, the setters always get me and get a few attempts out of me. So, I mean, you can see it's happening here too. I'm really just not able to start this boulder. At this point, Maddie is also training with me today, and she's working this boulder with me. And we're both really struggling to start this boulder. The foothold on the right is super bad and it's super greasy. and the volume is also really bad. It's the great part of the wall is really slabbed, but there's also like the volume like that I'm grabbing with my left hand there. There's no hold on it, like there's no jib. It's just like a terrible volume foot, and then a terrible, super slippery foothold with your right, and so it's just super like you got to be super lucky to get this start position. I think there was like one try out of all of these where I did start it, and then I was like trying to like calm myself down to go reach the hand down to touch the other start hold, and then my right foot started slipping off and I just came off. I think it was pretty early on too, and I knew I could do it. I knew it was possible, and all these tries don't look very close, but every time I did this I felt like I could start it, which is kind of funny. And then later, at this point I'd seen Maddie had started trying some different beta, which actually looked really good, where she runs up and jumps onto the lower start hand volume, which is like pretty bad, but if you like jump onto it and you're already like really high on it, you're able to bounce on it. And so see here, I'm about to try it. I was kind of getting really frustrated that I wasn't able to start the boulder with like what looked like the intended beta, and so I just kept trying that, even though Maddie had clearly come up with this better beta. I was just like stuck in my ways, and I wanted to conquer the move how it was. But eventually I just kind of said, okay, I actually don't have that much time left in the session. It's probably like 10 minutes or something, and so I want to see if I can just send this boulder at any cost. And so I started trying Maddie's beta, and it worked out pretty well. So what you do is you run up and jump on the volume, and then you compress it, the side of it, with your right foot. And it creates like some stability in your hips, and you're able to balance. And then it's like kind of a precarious reach down, touch start holds, and then this hold that you're going to here on the volume is pretty good. It's like a slopey edge, and then I do like a little shadow match, and here on this send attempt, actually I almost flubbed it and I kind of missed the hold, and I had to reel it back in really hard. But yeah, this was a good boulder, and the ending is a bit precarious here as well. So this wrapped up our morning session of an hour of bouldering. Pretty good session. Wasn't much of an agenda. It was nice to have just a chill session and work on this slab. This one kind of was like the theme of the session. This cool boulder, practice some balancing skills. I had fun working this boulder with Maddie too. Our schedules haven't been aligning recently, so we don't usually session that often together, and so this was like a fun opportunity to work on this boulder. And actually, now that her training is switching up a bit, we have like the Jackalope coming up, like the more fun event. So her sort of like super competitive season is over, and right now she's just kind of going to the gym and having some fun, and so we're able to climb more together, and she'll definitely be like featured in these sessions and in these videos, and you can see like the kind of the contrast of our styles, which will be a lot of fun. And so after resting for a few hours, yeah, like I mentioned before in a video, so like let's say this is our home, this is Studio Bloc, and then this is Boulderwelt. So I don't usually go to both of these gyms in one day because they're really quite far apart from each other. Because we don't have a car, obviously. Me and Maddie bike everywhere, and then we take the train system and like the buses, which is really good. But it was quite the journey. I had to like bike for like half an hour, and I'm not like a good biker, and then take all these trains. And so I made it here, and I was super tired, and I had to rest a bit more. But here, look at this move. It's pretty cool, eh? Even after all that exhausting journey, I still had actually a really good session here at Boulderwelt. I was feeling super strong. As demonstrated by this one-armer that I was able to take on that crimp. That was kind of one of those surprising moments where you're like, okay, I'm falling, and then all of a sudden your fingers are just like, no, I can hang on to this hold, and I just like stayed on the wall without really realizing it. And then that's kind of like one of those like superhero moves. It just gets you all fired up, and then the session snowballs, and it gets even better. I was feeling really strong in this session, even after my exhausting bike journey and journey all the way over to this gym. So that was reassuring. And we're getting on the comp wall here. It's just another hour of bouldering for this session. And there's a couple boulders on the comp wall that I haven't tried. There's this orange 9 that I'm sending here that's actually been up since like the entire time since we've been training here in Germany throughout the series, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. I don't know why. I keep kind of forgetting about it. It's like, okay, it's just some crimps. I don't need to necessarily prioritize this boulder because it's not like super fancy or comp style, and like it wouldn't be terrible if I'd missed the opportunity to try this boulder, but it stayed up for so long, and it got to the point where I kind of ran out of everything else on the comp wall that I ended up trying it, and that boulder actually climbed like super cool. I'm glad I didn't miss out on it because it was like those are some awesome moves, and it was my style. Took a few tries, but got it done. And then at this point, this is the last 9 I have up on the comp wall to do. This one is a new set. They set this like a week ago or something. And then after this, I have like a couple more A's to finish. But this 9, I knew that this one was going to be really hard. And when I was looking at the boulder, I thought to myself, I wonder if this was just kind of like a theory set from the setters. Like a kind of a really hard boulder that they just put up, and maybe they weren't able to stick the moves, and it was just kind of like a guesstimate if the boulder was possible or not. You know, some setters will do this. And actually, like I find a lot of setters in Canada will do this, where they'll just put up really hard boulders without necessarily knowing if they're possible. And I mean, usually the setters will be smart enough to, and their guess will just work. Like they don't actually have to have stuck the move to know if it's possible. But what I find in these, from my experience here in Germany, is actually that hasn't been the case that much. Now that I think about it, I very rarely run into boulders that just end up being impossible. And like I don't really run into a lot of theory sets here. So, and then yeah, it just took me a few tries to realize that there's no sort of like fancy bicycle or body position that I need to find in order to match this like really, really bad pinch at the start here. And I just needed to kind of commit to pinching it really hard and then doing the move. So the setters did a great job with like really threading the line of what was possible on holding this pinch for this boulder, which is really cool. And we got to put all our pinch block training to use. And yeah, it's just like, I'm kind of bicycling the start foot obviously, but it's dual text and it's not super great. So it's just all like in this crazy hard pinch. I kind of come into it and control the swing, and it doesn't look like a lot of swing, but it's just enough. And this pinch is super greasy and slopey, and I have to squeeze it so hard. It was a really fun boulder. I love this boulder. I just got to try really hard and use all the strength that I have. And the middle part was also really hard. Like getting that crimp was super desperate. It's kind of slopey, and then going up into that Gaston, I had to like stay so tense to reach up to the next crimp, and actually kind of tweaked my back like a tiny bit. I don't think it's actually really hurt, but I'm definitely like pretty sore right now. But it was worth it to get us down that boulder. That was probably one of the most physically hard boulders that I've sent in a while, like in all these gyms. Not I wouldn't say including like the spray wall boulders that we sent, but just on like the main walls, that one was really hard. I was happy to get us into that, and I was lucky to catch like trying this boulder on like a really strong feeling session. I think if I wasn't kind of feeling stronger than I usually do, which was the case today, that boulder probably wouldn't have gone. So that was lucky. And then there was another 8 we did on the comp wall to finish up. And then because I decided to kind of combine both of these boulder sessions in one video, which I haven't been doing in the past, I've been splitting them up into 2 parts. So today I did like a few other 8s, like some moderate looking 8s, and basically all of them are flashes. And I didn't include them in the video here just because I wanted to keep the video at the duration where I can export it. I've been having trouble exporting videos that are too long, so I kind of keep them around like 13 minutes, 14 minutes. So yeah, there were like a few other 8s that I did around this time that didn't make it in the video, but they were also pretty cool and like lots of flashes. But this 8 I had to include in the video because it was super cool. Nice little jump across. And this isn't on their comp wall, this is like in the main gym where you can, like I said before, you can find a lot of hidden gems around here. And this boulder climbed really, really well. So that wrapped up today's day of training. 2 boulder sessions, a whole lot of climbing done today. I'm really exhausted. I was like biking all over Germany today, back and forth between Frankfurt and Darmstadt, and then I had to go back home and the trains were delayed. Oh, it was an exhausting day of training, but it was really rewarding and I had some good sessions. So tomorrow we're coming back to Boulderwelt for our spray wall session and our workout. See you then.